Day I was called a bully. It shocked me. So this was back in 2023 during COVID. I was finishing one of the last courses in my human resources program. Compensation packages, I'm pretty sure it was. There's a lot of charts and numbers we were working on. It was online, group-based, and deadline heavy. I had lost childcare. I was raising my son, working two jobs, and trying to stay on top of school. Time wasn't just limited, it was stretched very thin for me. We were a group of 4 or 5 working towards a major project. As the deadline got closer, communication kept slipping, meetings were canceled, messaging went unanswered, and I was panicking a little because I knew my availability was about to disappear. I went strong, hitting, doing as much work as I possibly could. And anyways, I finally said something. I told the group that if we didn't get moving this week, I wouldn't be able to keep contributing at the same level. I thought I was being clear and I was setting a boundary. One person replied, and this was a WhatsApp, so it wasn't face to face. You're a bully. I remember just staring at the screen, shocked, hurt, defensive. I wasn't angry. Actually, I was furious. I had I had been bullied before, and I was like, you don't even know what bullying is. So being called one felt like a punch to the gut. But instead of reacting, I paused and took a breath and replied, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I wasn't aware I was coming across this way. I thought I was setting boundaries for my time. And that was it. There was no reply. We finished the project. We got a good grade. Life moved on. But that moment stayed with me. It made me realize how easily intention and impact can get lost, especially online. Tone disappears, stress shows up in strange ways, and when people are overwhelmed, even direct communication can feel like pressure or an attack. Ask my family. I still don't quite know how or what I'm doing that is confusing. So this is something that I regularly work on myself. I honestly feel like I'm setting boundaries and being clear. So here we are, human resources students, about to step into roles where we'd be expected to encourage open communication, conflict resolution, and respectful conversations. And yet, even in that setting, it was really hard to navigate. It also made me reflect on something deeper. How intimidating it can feel to approach someone who's stressed, overwhelmed, or coping in ways we don't fully understand. I, again, ask my family and myself. I've experienced it myself, trying to, oh no, I've done it, and it did not go well. I know that during certain seasons of my life, when I was stretched thin, or numbing stress, I wasn't always easy to approach. Not because I wanted to be difficult, but because I was in survival mode. Sometimes people aren't aggressive, they're exhausted. Sometimes they're not controlling, they're trying to hold things together. And sometimes that feels like pressure to one person. It's just urgency to another. When we're on a schedule, we don't see beyond, we don't see the bigger picture. And I have learned to slow down, think before I speak, as mentioned earlier. But that day taught me something I still carry. Boundaries matter, delivery matters, and communication online leaves a lot of room for misunderstanding. And in person, tone is a lot. I worked in bars for most of my life, and my voice is very high. Yeah, I was asked if I taught the martial arts my son went to, and it's the booming voice. So I'm trying to work on that myself. It's a reminder, though, that before we label somebody, it might be worth asking one more question. And before we defend ourselves, it might be worth listening once more, too. I'm learning, I learned a lot from that, and I've learned a lot over the years that, yes, how I say things, how I stand, how I present myself in communication, it's a learned thing. And the past can carry forward. Anyways, I thought I'd tell my story. maybe this helps clarify a few other things. Again, I'm out there to bring awareness, and I feel that telling my story helps others think about their own, or, let's just build bridges over those gaps of communication. Again, thanks for listening.